2 videos in one night. I really am spoiling you now, aren't I?
Oh, seriously?
Hey people, and welcome to this news video with myself, 6+ Stevo. So you may have watched the first video I did today before this one, or you may be watching them in the other order, but yeah, this is my second video I'll be filming today, because I've been playing catch up with the news. I've been covering the current news, and I've also been sort of backtracking. And I missed yesterday's news at the time of recording this. This was yesterday's news. Today's news was the improvements to the Daka. Well, you may see it as improvements, and some of you may not see it as improvements, but the changes to Daka weaponry. But yeah, this news is to cover Waaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaghs. So yeah, let's get into it and just take a look. So the Beast Snagger Orcs armies, yeah, blah blah blah, we know this, we know all this, but here we are. Codex Orcs with exclusive blah blah. Among the many awesome rules in the book are details of 3 distinct types of war cry: a Waaagh, a Speedwaaagh, and a Great Waaagh. You may be tempted to think of them as guttural howls of animalistic fury with 0 tactical effect. But no, there are nuances, and they give Orc armies scary advantages in battle. We get this lovely scene here with all the Gorkanauts and Stompers and Death Dreads, like full on Dread mob going here, isn't there? I'm liking that. And all the Beast Snaggers leading the charge. Good stuff. So, calling a Waaagh. To unleash the thunderous power of a Waaagh, you need a Warboss or a Speedboss to be your warlord. They've got the loudest voices, clearly. Your choice here also determines whether your warlord can call a Waaagh or a Speedwaaagh. So, here's so the old Death Killer War Trike is very much likely to be a Speedboss. For your warlords, galvanising war cry to be heard, they need to be on the battlefield during the command phase, or at the very least embarked on a transport that's on the battlefield. In the latter case, we assume he shoves his head out of the window before starting the shouting. A Waaagh or a Speedwaaagh can be called once per battle, and they both work in 2 stages. Stage 1 lasts until the start of your next command phase. Then Stage 2 kicks in, which lasts until the beginning of your subsequent command phase. So, okay, so you call a Waaagh or a Speedwaaagh, and it basically lasts for 2 turns. I think that's how I'm reading that right. So yeah, you call it in your command phase. Stage 1 lasts until your next command phase, and then Stage 2 kicks in until the next command phase. So you call a Waaagh and it lasts for 2 turns and has 2 different effects over those 2 turns. Interesting. So here's Waaagh. Raising his weapons into the air before gesturing towards the enemy, the Warboss bellows his war cry. Every nearby Orc joins in before surging towards the enemy, blades ready in an overwhelming tide. Stage 1, called a Waaagh. Orcs core and Orcs character units, so pretty much infantry stuff for the most part, from your army are eligible to declare a charge with even if they advance this turn. So that's like the current Waaagh ability, but no need to be within aura ability. It's just across the board, which is nice. Don't have to have your Warboss babysitting stuff. That's very cool. Add 1 to the attacks characteristic of Orc models from your army. So that's nice. That's like it's like Gazzy's Waaagh, isn't it? So yeah, they can advance and charge, and they add 1 to the attack. So that is bloody beautiful. That is stage 1. So what happens in stage 2 in the following turn? Get stuck in. Add 1 to the attacks characteristics of Orcs models from your army. Okay, so it's the same but without the thing. So you would declare this at the right time. So you'd probably be looking to declare this on sort of turn 2. In most cases, I imagine. So just before you're about to hit their lines, you call the Waaagh, then you're going to advance on that turn and attempt to charge, and so that's where you kind of pile in, and then you're going to be causing some havoc there. And then on the following turn, there's still going to be everything in your army's bent, or the units that are affected still get that extra attack. So yeah, lovely, really, really nice. That's cool. Let's go on to the next one. The Speedwaaagh. As the wind and the bullets of the foe whistle past his vehicle, the Speedboss throws back his head and roars his war cry, the call echoing from the ramshackle vehicles following in his wake as they surge forward ever faster. Stage 1. The Big Race. Ork models from your army do not suffer the penalty incurred to their hit rolls for firing assault weapons in the same turn their unit advanced. That's nice. Each time an Ork's vehicle or Ork biker model from your army shoots with a dagger weapon, make one additional attack with that weapon. Ooh, nice. Okay. And each time a model in an Ork's vehicle or Ork's biker unit from your army makes a ranged attack, improve the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. Lovely. Okay. So Orks can advance and fire their assault weapons with no penalty, which is really cool. Yeah. Although most of their weapons now are dagger weapons. Do dagger weapons, are they still kind of... Yeah, because a lot of our weapons aren't assault weapons anymore, are they? They're dagger weapons. It doesn't mention that in here. But, interesting. Yeah, what ones are still assault weapons? Maybe, I don't know. That's an interesting point, because how many Ork models do have... Well, it's just anything, so it's basically everything in the army other than grots firing. So yeah, I don't know, it's not, yeah. Vehicle or Ork biker models from the army shoot with a dagger weapon, make 1 additional attack. So dagger weapons get an extra attack. That's cool, especially if they're within that half range. So they're going to be getting a lot of shots, so that's good. And then Ork vehicles and Ork bikers improve their armor penetration by 1. That's lovely. So yeah, more shots, more effective shots, and being able to advance and shoot. So yeah, that's good. Lots of extra shootiness and more effective shooting. And then in stage 2, give them some dagger. Each time a model in an Ork's vehicle or Ork's biker unit from your army makes a ranged attack, improve the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. Okay, so we're seeing, so stage 1, the Waaagh is in full force, or the Speedwaaagh, and then stage 2, it's sort of, it's lessening, but you're still getting some of the benefits. So it's sort of like they're at their peak, and then they're still energized, but they're sort of tapering off. I kind of like the way that works. That's quite cool. Yeah, very cool. So both are good. The Speedwaaagh definitely seems to be. You've got one that's the Waaagh is definitely very combat focused, and the Speedwaaagh is very dagger focused. So you've got a shooty one and a sort of combat one. It's, yeah, you'd have expected the Speedwaaagh itself to be a bit more about speed, I guess. I suppose it is to a degree. Assault weapons, being able to advance and still shoot them, so it's encouraging those units to advance and not suffer the penalty. So it's going to encourage you to move things a bit faster, I suppose. So it kind of is helping you get around the table a bit more without having to, make the decision, or do I want to shoot without any penalties, or do I want to really get them up for higher? So that's always nice. It's good. It's going to be effective on the table. Certainly anything that gives you more shots and makes the shots hit harder is never going to be a bad thing. Whether or not it's better than the regular Waaagh, I don't know. It depends the type of army build you've got, I think. It's going to. It's very hard to tell at this stage, because we're only getting these little snippets, and without knowing the rest of all the rules, we're not really going to know until it all, it all comes together. This is just one ingredient in the pie. But anyway, calling a Waaagh at the right time enables your greenskin hordes to get crumping much faster, as they can advance and charge at the same turn, and it gives them more attacks once they get there. Your speed freak units are fast enough already, So unleashing the Speedwaaagh gives their ample firepower a boost instead. And that is true, actually. I've found that with even in the current codex, I use things like when I've played games as Evil Sons sometimes, and I've found that the Evil Sons traits benefited things like Death Dreads and stuff far more than the really fast vehicles, because it was just surplus to requirements a lot of the time, and all the things that boosted your speed and stuff, because if you're throwing that on vehicles that are already really fast, they often didn't need to be any faster than that to do what you needed them to do. So I actually found that it actually helped my slower units, like Evil Sons Mega Knobs, for example, made them far more mobile, and Death Dreads and things were a lot more, it helped things like that, and Shooter Boys being able to advance it. So yeah, so I understand why they've done that, because most of the time, if you're kind of got that kind of theme army, and then you call a Speedwaaagh, and what does it do? It makes your stuff faster, and it's like, well, it can already cover half the battlefield in a single bound. Do you really need to be any faster than that? So I get why they've done it like that. The third type of Waaagh, the Great Waaagh, no less, is reserved exclusively for the biggest, the meanest, the nastiest, and the ugliest, don't tell him we said that, Warboss of them all, the beast himself, Ghazghkull Thraka, of course. A Great Waaagh can also only be called once per battle, but it combines the effects of both a Waaagh and a Speedwaaagh, making your army faster, stronger, and shootier all at the same time. Holy shit. If you didn't think the deadliest Ork of all could become deadlier still in the new codex, the Great Waaagh is solid proof to the contrary. Suffice it to say that if Ghazghkull has called one in the picture below, those poor Astra Militarum soldiers are going to have a very bad day at the office. They certainly are. They certainly are. Ghazghkull is just, and we saw today that the Mork's raw gun has become more powerful and stuff, and so he's going to be badder than ever. Remember that the Beast Snagger Orcs armies is up for the normal stuff, trying to sell us stuff. You don't need to try very hard, GW. We're all going to throw our money at you very soon. Do not worry about that. But yeah, what do I think about this? I really like it. I love the fact it's harking back to old days where I like the fact where a Waaagh was called during a battle, and being just an aura ability that it became in 8th edition, it wasn't the same. Being able to yell that Waaagh ability during a game and let your opponent know, right, I'm calling, the shit's about to get serious, and then it just boosts your army across it. It was a cool thing. And we lost a bit of character of that when it just became an aura ability, and then your Warboss had to sort of babysit units near him and sort of make sure you had to measure them, keep him within distance. It could be a pain in the arse sometimes, especially when you're advancing stuff and they were all advancing at different speeds, and then trying to keep them near each other so they could benefit from it. It became a bit of a ball ache. So actually I think this is really, really good, and it adds a little element of tactics when you're going to call it. You're going to want to time it right, and like I said, I reckon in most cases you're going to be calling this in like turn 2, maybe turn 1 sometimes. It depends on the situation, but yeah, when you call it, it's going to make a big difference. It's really cool. I really like it. I don't know which one I'll go for, and obviously this can only be by a Warboss or a Speedboss. So it makes me wonder what happens when your army isn't led by a Warboss or a Speedboss. Are we going to get an alternative to this if your Warlord is a Big Mech or a Weird Boy? Are they going to confer something else that's an alternative to this? I remember going way back when you had a Big Mech, you could like gain like an extra Death Dread. You know, you had that, like, you could like have so you could have up to 4 Death Dreads in your army back then. This is older rules, but he could basically give you access to more, tech, and then obviously a Warboss had their own different abilities. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see, because I quite often, currently, I don't often use war bosses, because I usually have my army led by a big mech. One, because it sort of fits the theme of my army better, and two, the rules wise and stuff, it kind of fits my army better currently. But it'll be interesting to see with the new one how, and what options we get, like, because this, if you don't get something like, not that it can necessarily be like this, but if they don't have an equally cool buff that they give, or an ability they give, big mechs that is, then it's going to make a war boss or a speed boss pretty much a compulsory choice. You're always going to want one of them to be your warlord, which I can kind of see. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, look at the size of this Great Waaagh. Every time I see this thing, I'm like, it's huge, so good. But yeah, so yeah, there we go, guys. What do you think about the Waaagh abilities? Like I said, I'm sorry it's a bit late, but this is the last bit I had to catch up on. And then, having covered today's news today, I am now fully up to date with all the news. So I've caught back up with myself. I'm making up for lost time. But yeah, anyway, this video is already a bit longer than I wanted it to be. So I'm going to cut off now. Share your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will see you on the next one, guys. 6+ Stevo signing out for the second time today.